In this movie, we'll take a look at a couple of commands that are spin-offs of the Magic Wand tool, and they go by the names Grow and Similar. Now, to demonstrate how these commands work, I'll need to deselect the image, which might sound fairly extreme, given that I did spend a few minutes on this selection outline, which is why it's so great that you can save and load selections inside Photoshop. And so I'll start off by saving the selection, which you do by going to the Select menu and choosing the Save Selection command. And then I'll just go ahead and name the selection Clouds and click OK. Now, at this point, you may wonder where the selection outline lives, and the answer is the Channels panel. And so I'll press Shift-Tab to bring back my right side panels, and then I'll go up to the Window menu and choose the Channels command, at which point you'll see, in addition to the red, green, and blue channels, I now have another channel called Clouds. And to see what that looks like, I'll go ahead and click on that channel, and then I'll zoom on in as well. Now, what we're seeing is a pixel-for-pixel representation of our selection outline, which means that we can get rid of the marching ants by going up to the Select menu and choosing the Deselect command, or of course you can press Control-D or Command-D on the Mac. And just so you understand how things are working, anywhere that was selected a moment ago is now white inside of this channel. Anywhere that was deselected is black, and anywhere that was partially selected is gray. And so these gray pixels right here are the result of the smoothing provided by the anti-alias checkbox. And so you can see where anti-aliasing is helpful where the Magic Wand tool is concerned, it's also imperfect. We end up with a lot of garbage, which is why I'm going to show you how to refine this stuff away in the next movie. But for now, just bear in mind white equals selection, black equals deselection, gray equals partial selection, and this is an exact replica of the selection outline that we saw just a moment ago. And just so that you're aware of the terminology, this thing right here is known as an alpha channel, after the first letter in the Greek alphabet, alpha. All right, I'm going to switch back to the RGB image, and I'll press Control-0 or Command-0 on the Mac to zoom out. And now let's take a look at the Grow and Similar commands. Both commands work based on the tolerance value that you've assigned to the Magic Wand tool, which is why I'm going to restore the default tolerance by right-clicking on the Magic Wand icon on the far left side of the options bar and choosing Reset Tool. Next, I'll go ahead and switch to any old selection tool. It doesn't matter which one. So I'm going to start off with the rectangular marquee tool, which of course you can get by pressing the M key. And then I'll just draw a small selection in the upper left corner of the image. Next, I'll go to the Select menu and choose either Grow or Similar. Now, here's the difference between them. Grow works like the Magic Wand tool when the contiguous checkbox is turned on. In other words, it selects adjacent pixels, and Similar works as if contiguous is turned off, meaning that it selects non-adjacent pixels. So I'll start by choosing the Grow command, and notice that it goes ahead and selects this region in the upper left image, but it does not jump the clouds. Whereas if I return to the Select menu and choose the Similar command, Photoshop jumps across the cloud in order to select additional regions of sky. Now, you can continue to choose the Similar command if you want, but at a certain point, you're going to reach a level of diminishing returns. If I really wanted to select the entire sky, then I would press Control-D or Command-D on the Mac to deselect the image, and then I would select some random regions of sky like so. And so I'm just shift-dragging around the sky, trying to pick up different colors of sky, that is to say, very light sky down here toward the bottom and darker sky toward the top. And then once I feel like I've got as much sky as I need, I would return to the Select menu and I would choose the Similar command, at which point Photoshop's going to use all of those marquees as if they were click points that I had assigned using the Magic Wand tool, and it's going to grow the selection considerably. Now, if you find that you end up selecting too much sky, as I have, then you would want to return to the Magic Wand tool, then press the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac and click in order to deselect some of those clouds. And while that works out pretty well, there's not too much sense in completely replicating the selection outline I created in the previous movie, so I'm just going to load it back up by going to the Select menu and choosing the Load Selection command. At which point, you would want to make sure that you're working in the current document and that your channel is set to clouds or whatever you named your alpha channel. You want the invert checkbox to be turned off because otherwise you're going to reverse the selection, and then you want your operation to be set to new selection. We do not want to add to the one that we have right now, after which point click OK to bring back that selection outline. Now, the thing about alpha channels is that just as with layers, you cannot save them with JPEG images. So if I were to go up to the File menu and choose the Save command, or press Control-S or Command-S on the Mac, then Photoshop would bring up the Save As dialog box, as opposed to wedge what we've done into an incompatible JPEG. Now, there's two ways to work. One is if you're saving a layered file, you want to go ahead and save it off in the Photoshop format. But if you don't have any layers, as is the case for us, then you can use the TIFF format instead. And the reason is that TIFF allows you to save multiple alpha channels, and its variety of compression works great with masks. And its variety of compression works great with saved selection outlines. So I'll go ahead and save over this selected clouds image that I've created in advance. And you want to make sure, by the way, that the alpha channels checkbox is turned on. That's very important. Then click the Save button. Obviously, I want to replace the other file. Next, to get the best results, you want to set your image compression to LZW, and otherwise you can leave everything alone. The byte order doesn't matter whether you're working on the Mac or the PC, it can be either or. But for the best results, you do want to leave the pixel order set to interleaved. And then just go ahead and click OK to save off that file, and you now have an image that contains its own selection outline. And that's how you take advantage of the grow and similar commands, as well as how you save selections and load them back up here inside Photoshop.